guys have such a great dynamic. I was reading a lot about you, and I know you have a new album coming out. And what I like about it is it's called the award-winning holiday album, because obviously, why would it not be award-winning? So can you just talk to us, if one of you wants to get started, and just talk to us about the album and the collaboration?
My turn. We often talk about how we just adore singing together. Marty and I have been singing together in many capacities for many years. And both of us are huge fans of holiday music. And we've always wanted to record something together, but have never had the time. We're either in different parts of the world, different parts of the city. You know, it's very time consuming. It's a labor of love. And that's the best thing to come out of this pandemic. All we had was time. Yeah. So, Marty had decided that he was going to put out a holiday album and was looking at, things to put on the album, and found a YouTube video of Marty and myself singing a song at Joe's Pub called There Is a Santa Claus. This was many years ago. And he called me and he was like, hey, do you want to sing this duet? We should record this. This was such a good song. And I was like, oh, absolutely. We're going to record it. And then 3 hours later, I had an email that we were doing an entire album. Because that's how Marty works.
Okay.
She's quick. And everything he touches turns to gold. So I never, ever say no, but I had no idea what I was in for. Right. But Marty and I, as a brand, we've had a duo show together. We've been in other shows together. We're just kind of this, as you can see on the album art, it's a cartoon. Yeah. We are kind of cartoony, but also in a very personable way. So we wanted to put out an album that showed our brand as fun best friends, silly, comedic, but also with heart and hopefully lovely voices that you enjoy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're going to be lovely voices because, obviously there's a lot of holiday albums out there. So, kind of what makes yours different. And I guess it does make a difference because you guys have known each other for a long time. You both were on Broadway. Like you have, a different edge to it. And like you said,
well, it's also an award-winning album.
Yeah, it must.
So right on the cover, so it has to be true.
I like how you said holiday. So does it include, Hanukkah songs? Like
you bet.
Everything. Okay.
It was really important for us in making a holiday record. It's not just, we like specificity in that Marissa and I kind of have crazy going every direction imaginations. And if we're given too broad a spectrum of a theme, it's kind of hard to harness in all of our ideas. But with a very specific genre like holiday music, it was so fun to really dig in and pick material for this album. But it was very important right off the bat for both of us that this not be a Christmas album. Even though I grew up celebrating Christmas and still do, Marissa grew up celebrating Hanukkah, and now I do. And so it was very important for us to represent both of our backgrounds and both of our upbringings and both of our families in the album. So on the cover art, you'll see all kinds of little hidden Easter eggs that in the design, we really wanted it to represent holiday and to immediately catch the eye with those typical red and green colors. But in the wreath that surround us, it's kind of a metaphor of our relationship and our lives. You'll find things that represent moments in both of our careers and our friendship. And of course, you'll find a gorgeous little dreidel, and you'll find some rhinestone Star of David earrings on Miss Rosen. I'm really proud of what we created.
That's so cool. And I love the album art also. It's very catchy and you want to just listen to it because it looks fun. And
Thank you.
Fun, so that makes a difference.
And if you've ever wanted a disco Hanukkah bop in your life, if you've ever been at a party and you've thought, I wish there was a Hanukkah song I could really shake my tush to, look no further. Okay. Because I found an old oldie but a goodie, a Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings tune, a band that isn't super widely known, but I'm a huge fan of, this awesome band. And they had this like down tempo R&B jam called 8 Days of Hanukkah. So I turned it on its ear and gave it a disco beat and a cowbell, and gave Marissa her first dance floor hit. Come on, Club Villa.
Yeah, we're an unrepresented community in the dance club music genre.
Oh, and I'm Jewish, so I love that.
There you go.
Every year, I'm always trying to find fun holiday songs for Marissa to do in our live shows, and it's like, of course, she can sing anything, and we will often put like Run Run Rudolph on her, or I know it's been a standing joke with us that Barbra Streisand's Jingle Bells is a Hanukkah theme.
Yeah.
That she sings that every year. But I've always wanted her to have a real diva moment with a Hanukkah song, because it deserves it.
I agree. I like how you said a Hanukkah bop.
Yeah.
Because it's more than a Hanukkah song. It's not just it's not your typical Hanukkah dirge. It's a disco bop.
I like that. So where can we find this CD? Is it on Apple?
You can find it everywhere. It's on iTunes, it's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon, Spotify, Tidal, anywhere that you can stream and purchase music. But now's the time of year in the pandemic where we remind people to support small business and support artists. If you would really like to support an artist, you can get a hard copy of the CD at martythomas.com/shop. We started our own record label to be able to release this album. So you can find Candy Cane Records right here in the corner of my Hell's Kitchen studio apartment. And you can find hard copies on my site, and then you can buy digitally anywhere and stream anywhere.
And they're so cute. They have they look like a vinyl. The CDs actually look like a vinyl, which I thought was a lovely touch.
Yeah, bring it back old school. I like it.
Yeah.
But, like when everything shut down, I remember the feeling I had when, some people knew that it was going to be bad when there were going to be no more sports games. I knew it was going to be bad when they said they were shutting Broadway down. And I said to my husband, I'm like, oh my God, they're shutting Broadway down. Like, This is not good. Like that was when I knew internally that things were not going to be good. So I can't imagine what it was like for both of you, especially, with all your experience on Broadway. Can you maybe touch on when you found out that was happening, and like how have you adapted since?
It was definitely very bizarre. At the time, I was on tour with Kristin Chenoweth, who I had made my Broadway debut with November, December, in her show called For the Girls. And we were on tour, and we were scheduled to be on tour all the way through New Year's 2021. So we had a schedule, and we were in, we were in a part of the tour, maybe North Carolina, Alabama, one of those. And I was on a plane March 11th. Like we had no idea what was going on. The airports had started to clear out. There were not people on our planes, things like that. And we had another show scheduled for, I believe, March 13th. And they were like, just put that on hold. And we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Weird coronavirus. Okay, I understand. So we were on hold. My mother, from Long Island, she was like, pack a bag. I mean, I packed a weekend bag. 9 months later, I needed more clothes. But we had no idea. And Broadway just doesn't shut down. I believe Broadway has shut down in my lifetime maybe twice or three times. It's 9/11, whenever the subways shut down. And it's shocking. Yeah. It's our livelihood. It's not one of those things where it was like, we'll figure it out. We can just lock the doors and do business as usual if we're an insurance company or any kind of thing like that. And it was, I know that I was a little bit scared, but I know that people in this community are resilient and have shown that throughout this entire pandemic.
Well, it's crazy. It's not just that it was our livelihood. It's the absolute pulse of the city.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to hear Broadway discussed and the arts discussed around the country, because so many people had the feelings that artists should just, grab their bootstraps and find something else to do. Yet those are the same people that are upset that new shows on Netflix weren't coming out and new music wasn't being dropped. And it's like, somebody's not getting the connection.
Yeah, right.
That you desperately crave new content and entertainment, but you think artists should be disrespected, and it's fascinating. But on the same token, as I was watching Marissa's awesome tour and new experience be canceled, same with everybody. I released an album last January and kind of dumped my savings into a dream project and was booked through the year. I was supposed to be on a European tour right now. I was supposed to be starting a play upstate right now. It was such a big year and it was so booked, and literally every second of my year canceled. And now I'm having gigs in 2021 rescheduled to 2022. So it's beyond like jarring. It's scary for artists right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. So let's go back to working with Kristin Chenoweth. She's super cool. I mean, first of all, how does she have that voice? She's so tiny, and she seems so like just like a genuinely great person. Like, what's it like working with her?
I can only use the word unbelievable. I know that sounds like super cliche, but and Marty knows her well as well. He performed in Wicked with her. She was one of those people that obviously she's a superstar. I've always known she was going to be sweet and kind and lovely, but the generosity level is just, it's on another planet. This was a very fast process. You know, we all dream about that Broadway process of it, weeks and weeks and months of rehearsal and then our big opening night. This was like, oh my gosh, we're open. Wow, cool, okay. But first day we walked in and it was myself and Crystal Monet Hall, who was our other singer. We walked into press day. So there were like 15 news outlet cameras and our entire band was set up and she had been there rehearsing and we walked in and she stopped everything to just come over and hug us and introduce herself and thank us. And she did it in press time and time again. And my favorite thing to say about her is that if the spotlight was the size of a dime, she would say that there was enough room for everyone.
Oh,
and that is consistently how every performance has been. She has given us spotlight opportunities in the show. I always compare it to Bette Midler and her Harlots. Okay. It's more of a show. We are a girl group, and that translates on and off stage. So I can't say enough nice things about Kristin.
What does it take on that process to be a part of something like Wicked? I mean, because you're like, yeah, we showed up the first day, but like there's a million people that want to be singers or that want to be on stage. How do you get that opportunity? How'd that work out?
I mean, it's interesting. I'm sure as an entertainment reporter, you've heard this time and time again. The journey of an artist it's not like a doctor or a lawyer where there's point A, point B, point C to get to point D, point E, point, so-and-so. Every artist journey is completely different. And mine was very uniquely different in that I wasn't gaining traction in the audition room. I just was kind of falling into cracks where I didn't really fit a mold. I was coming so close to booking. And I had worked on Broadway as a child, had come back to New York after business school and was, because I was struggling getting traction in the Broadway world, I was releasing music and traveling doing club and disco dance music. And so I started working in New York nightlife and doing my own solo shows. And that's really how I branded myself and got noticed by New York casting. And I've completely booked every Broadway show I've done in a nightclub. Truly, that I would get called into the audition room after, but the only reason I would get that audition was through my nightclub show. At first, I was told by Wicked, my agent was told I was too tall. It was never going to happen.
Wow.
I have that problem too.
And I'm not tall. It was just a show that, Kristin Chenoweth was a 5'1" Glinda, and I was auditioning for a Bach cover who was going to play a Munchkin opposite her. And they were not seeing me for it. Finally, it was just offered to me through this process, and which was such a blessing. But then seeing me next to Adina and next to Kristin, it was like, oh, he's not a Munchkin.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was too late. Contracts were signed.
Oh, wow. That's really funny.
I didn't get to come to Atlantic City this year. I usually come every year for Miss America. I produce the Miss New York pageant, and I train a lot of young women who compete in the scholarship pageant. So I come every year. Marissa and I actually performed at the pageant a couple of maybe 4 years ago.
I was there. I mean, I'm there every year. I cover it every year.
I love it so much.
So it says here that you were in Star Search, Ed McMahon's Junior Star Search, and then you beat Britney Spears at the time.
If it says it there, it must be true.
That's crazy. Isn't that funny how, you grow up with people and you're like, oh shoot, that was her. So wait, so do you keep in touch with her now, or is she like totally off the grid? And
our parents keep in touch. We haven't been in touch in several years. We were really close as kids and into our teens. And obviously she exploded when we were in high school. And we did keep in touch for quite some time, and things fall apart when everybody gets busy. So our parents keep in touch and keep us updated on things.
Okay. And I have another question. So it says here off Broadway, I think you both were in, or maybe one of you, with My Big Gay Italian Wedding and Tony and Tina's Wedding. Was that with Anthony Wilkinson?
It was. Right. My Big Gay Italian Wedding. That's actually, it's not exactly where Marissa and I met, but it was our very first time performing together, that I was Anthony's husband and Marissa was Anthony's sister.
Oh my God.
But we met in a nightclub one random Friday night. We were both in the same bar from each other at a pool table. And I look across the bar as I'm dancing to some, innocuous Rihanna hit. And I'm in this deep lunge with a stank face, giving my best moves. And I look across the pool table, and what do my wandering eyes appear? Young Marissa Rosen is doing the exact same lunge. We clock eyes, and I'm like, get over here. And we chit chat and we exchange information, and it's sort of, it loses momentum for a few days. And then I walk into my job. I'm doing My Big Gay Italian Wedding. And in the lobby, there's Marissa. I'm like, what? Did you know I was in this? She's like, we should talk after. So after, I find out that she is starting rehearsals for the show the next day. And we hang out after the show, and she lives a few blocks away from me, and we go to the same gym, and we do all the same things, and we both are obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Gem and the Holograms. So a fast friendship was formed.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love it. I was wondering how that tied in. That's funny because did you do the show Tony and Tina's when it was at Showboat in Atlantic City, or did you do it in New York?
I did it in New York. Okay. Funnily enough, I am doing their anniversary concert. Hold on. They're doing like a reunion. I literally got an email about it yesterday from Larry Pellegrini, who is the amazing creator. He is doing it's a TNT holiday hangout for 500 Tony and Tina's alumni. But yeah, I actually was working on a cruise ship in Europe, and Norwegian Cruise Lines was putting out full like Broadway shows. It was their first transition going from just ship shows to book shows. And we were the inaugural cast, and they brought on Tony and Tina's. So I did it on the ship. I played like the mother at like 20. It made a lot of sense. And I hadn't, that was like a huge thing for me. And I got back to New York, and there were so many people who had done it. And Larry called me, and he's like, I'd like to put you in the show in New York. And I was like, because it's one of those hidden gems that you know about your entire life. You're like, oh yeah, Tony and Tina's wedding is in New York somewhere in like a basement. And here I was like in a wedding outfit, what? Bridesmaid's dress, learning Tony and Tina's like overnight. That's the whole thing. There was no glamorized rehearsal process for that either. They just trusted that I was going to learn that script, come in for like 2 hours before the show, and they trusted me to do it in front of a paying audience. And I was like, you're putting a lot of trust in me.
Yeah. Well, when you're a professional, you're good like that.
Yeah. So that was fun.
And I was going to ask you, Marty, I know you were in Two Broke Girls. What was that like working with Kat Dennings and Beth? Like, they just seem like the coolest people.
Working on the show was awesome. I didn't get to work directly with them because interestingly, I, again, booked that show in a very unconventional way. And I was asked to film and direct all of my own scenes. I played an online beauty expert. And so they would turn to my character, Damone, for beauty advice when they would go out to the club or go out. And so I filmed all of my own episodes from home. It was awesome.
Funny.
Yeah, what a neat world.
You already knew that was going to happen.
Side note, Marissa, this has been happening a lot. Marissa will say a word and I'll be like, I don't think that's a word. So I'll Google it while she's telling a story. And every time, sure is a word. Funnily enough, I could have sworn I was like, after this, I'm going to tell Marissa it's funny enough. Nope. Funnily is a strange or amusing way used to admit that a situation or fact is surprising or curious. So, brava!
I'm sorry. Did you just admit I was right on a public circuit? What?
And I didn't even have to. I brought it up myself.
Proud.
I'm a proud 2020 man.
We all were like, 2020 is our year. So really fast, because that people know you from Broadway and they know you from some of these other things you've done, but what's something they don't know? Like, do you have any fun hidden talents?
One year, I don't think a lot of people know this. I got called after Xanadu on Broadway closed to coach Cara Delevingne to roller skate for the Victoria's Secret runway fashion show. And it was the weirdest call that I kind of thought I was being punked, but I went to the Armory where it was being filmed and gave lessons all day and got to give a roller skating lesson to Rihanna, Bruno Mars, and Justin Bieber. Oh. And just worked with Cara Delevingne all day on her roller skating skills. So I guess that's something that most people don't know, because it's one of those I have a lot of those stories that you're like, you're not going to believe me if I tell you this. You're going to need to see video or a photograph, but they don't exist.
Well, it's been really great chatting with you guys. Is there any parting advice you'd like to give to people who, might be following in your similar footsteps?
Find yourself a best friend that sings with you, dances with you, and looks at you the way that Marissa Rosen looks at me. I'm a lucky dude.
Aww.
I know,
I hate when he says nice things and I have to say nicer things.
You got to surround yourself who bring the joy, with people who bring the joy and support your wacky, crazy ideas. And in that I have Marissa Rosen, because I've never had a wild idea that she didn't say, okay, we'll give it a go.
That's great.
Yeah, I would just say, especially just in this time, I echo everything Marty said. There's really that was beautifully said. Thank you. That take this time and take care of you. This has been such a weird, beautiful time to really be able to hone in on the things that I need to help and bring joy to other people, which is, I think Marty and I were really able to take that kind of time and be like, what do we love that would make other people happy as well? And that's Glitter and the award-winning holiday album. So I think that's a labor of love. And I hope that everyone feels the love that we have for each other through the album.
And through our Instagram account. Follow at Marty and Marissa. And you can find the award-winning holiday album on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere that fine music can be streamed or purchased.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much
Whitney.
for having
we appreciate
us.
You.